Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a great day, and we're going to have a great show here. I'm Mary Grace. This is Mary Grace TV, and we have a very interesting conversation on deck for you today. We have a return guest, one of them, and then we have a new guest. We're going to do a multi-generational show here today. We have our friend Jordan Roberts with his daughter, Georgie. And welcome to the show, Georgie. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, how old are you?
10.
10. This is your first podcast, and it's live. So don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Everybody out there in TV land is watching you, and they're, I'm sure, very excited to have you on the show. This is very exciting. Just as you're coming in to listen today, please say hello. Please just let other people know that we're on. If you like what we're doing here on either channel, subscribe, like, follow, whatever they ask you to do in the button on the channel you're on. And then also just remember that if you somehow missed getting the notifications, you need to go to my website, marygracemedia.com, and sign up for the mailing list, because I send out an email to let people know before I go live, before I post content. And that's how you can get the notifications. Don't rely on these platforms to do their job that they're supposed to do. Just you can rely on me, marygracemedia.com. And we're going to get right to our topic of discussion today here. We have with us, like I said, Jordan Roberts, his daughter, Georgie, and your family must be a little crazy when it comes to calling people's names and figuring out like who you're talking to.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's like every family, right? I'm sure your mom probably calls you Nace and calls your brother Jordan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just says, both of you come here.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. We have some interesting things happening, I think, in the world of nutrition overall. But I met you and your brother because of your company. You guys do freeze dried beef, and we talked about it on the last show, but I want to just give a recap for our listeners to understand Grid Down Chow Down. This is your company, and sort of how you started and how you ended up with freeze dried, because you didn't start with freeze dried. You start with a freezer full of beef during
Right.
the pandemic.
Right.
So tell us about it.
So we started at the beginning of whatever everybody remembers as COVID. And
Mhm.
I kind of remember it from the great toilet paper shortage, or, when we were going through that time, we were just looking at a way to get meat and have it long term without it going bad in the freezer in case the power went off. I remember being in Costco and getting kicked out of Costco. They wouldn't take my money because I wouldn't wear a mask at that time because I wasn't sure of what was happening. I wasn't just following the trend. And so, and it was also like it was a meat rationing thing to where you could only buy so much meat. And so you had people kind of going crazy and wild over, the toilet paper and the meat and all that stuff. So people were buying up bulks of, quantities of stuff and hoarding it. And so we're like, well, we need to figure out a way for our family to, just have some reserves, and we call it insurance. And so we started going down the path of freeze drying for our family, trying to have a sustainable, shelf stable raw meat product that we could have. We started building greenhouses for ourselves so that we could grow plants all year long. We started, doing the freeze drying. And so whenever we came across the freeze drying, we ended up getting hooked up with some people that were asking for us to do it for them as well. And then we realized, hey, as we were trying to find a solution to our problem and to have options for our family, also there's other people out there that are looking for the same thing. And so we're like, I guess we need to offer this to other people as well. As friends and family started approaching us, we started figuring out a way to go ahead and turn this into a business. When we first set out, it didn't start off with that intent and purpose. So
Excellent. So you kind of became, I guess, like accidental homesteaders,
yeah.
right, right. Which I think happened to a lot of people in the last 4 or 5 years, and I think more are jumping on that, especially with some of the things that appear to be coming down the pike. because the people that did this in the first place really aren't showing signs of letting up. In fact, I think they're wanting to double down, and
Right.
so when you invested in the freeze dryer, and one of the things that I've learned since, because I know people who do freeze drying, and I have some friends who have it, and they have their operation. They have actually a deep freezer in their garage where they, vacuum seal fresh meats, and then they'll put them in the freezer until they have time to get them ready for the freeze dryer. So they it's a multi-step process, and they have, like, a nice little assembly line. They have a big garage, and then when they're ready to freeze dry, they put the meat in the freeze dryer, and then that takes a certain amount of time, and so they had to learn the process. They had to put a special outlet in, for their freeze dryer, a dedicated outlet, and so it became clear to me that this is not it's not for everybody, right? And, but you guys have done it, and I can see why your friends and family started asking you to do it for them as well, because not like, we don't have the space right now to dedicate to that operation, to do it properly, because you can't pull your freeze dryer out like a little dehydrator. It's
Right.
big.
Right.
Yeah, and it's an investment. Um, so I'm really glad that you guys decided to do that. And now I recently, I think either you or Nace said that you're actually expanding your operations. Can you tell us
Yep.
about that?
Yeah, so we just signed our second lease for another property here in Oklahoma, and so that was just a couple weeks ago. We're actually getting ready to drive up to Utah, to our freeze dry company, and so we're going to take a tour of their facility. We're getting new commercial freeze dryers from there, and so we have just been expanding like crazy. And so I think a lot of people, kind of jumped on board with raising your own chickens and all that stuff. That just this morning, me and Georgie had to round them all up because they got out. So it's just a constant, battle of
Yeah.
the chicken world. But I think what a lot of people found out is that, yeah, I can buy my own freeze dryer, but it's like, do I have the time,
Yeah.
and do I have the space? So it does take a lot of effort. Everyone that I've met that has done that route, most of them are like, I probably shouldn't have done that. It sounded cool. I wanted the freedom to be able to do that, but I really just don't have the time. So
Mhm.
with everyday life, whether it's school for the kids or sports or whatever, or work, they find out it's like, man, this takes a lot more effort than we thought. And so
Mhm.
whenever I talk to people, it's like, hey, you can do this if you want, or you could find people like us that you
Yeah.
trust,
Yeah.
and let us do it because we're good at it, and you support a kingdom minded company,
Mhm.
and then just really know that we are bringing a product that you can trust. You don't have to worry about what's in it. In a day of age where people are concerned about
Mhm.
what the labels are saying or what they're
Yeah.
allowed not to say. We are teaming up with the best ranchers in Oklahoma to make sure that we have
Mhm.
a good quality, safe product that everybody's looking for.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really exciting. And one of the things that you said, it's really interesting how people sort of jumped on the bandwagon. They got
Right.
freeze dryers, they got chickens, like, and it's and some people are getting out of it, right? I'm counting on being able to find a really good quality used camper, because I think people bought campers
Right.
and they're having camper regret. So that's kind of on my list. But but it's very interesting. But I think it's good that people are realizing, okay, here, this is what my limitations are, but I'm happy to support a company that is doing this, that reflects my values, that reflects what I want to see with my food, and also with the way that I do business. And so, for those of you who are listening, if you're just listening audio only, I did put the link up here while Jordan was talking. It's griddownchowdown.com. And when you go there, there's a drop down where you can say that Mary Grace sent you. So be sure and do that, Mary Grace. And tell me a little bit about your process. And then I want to transition to talking about your way of eating, because
Okay.
you're not just freeze drying beef, you're eating a heck of a lot of beef. And so we want to talk about that. But Georgie, I want to ask you a question. Do you help out? It sounds like you help out on the farm and that you are doing some things with the animals. And I wanted to hear a little bit about that. Can you tell us about what you do and like what happened this morning with the chickens?
They got out and we had to round them up and put them in the chicken pen.
Yeah, and there was a hole in the pen, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So how do you round up chickens? I don't know how to do that.
You kind of have to go slow, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when we first got our chickens, they would like run after them like crazy people, and then they just scatter, and then you're never putting them up, you know. So
Yeah.
the thing is, you just kind of have to go slow and just slowly round them up.
Do you
And
have a
then
favorite chicken? Did you name them?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
we have 16 right now. Yeah. But the thing is the reason why there's a hole in the pen is because an animal forced their way in. And so we probably lost all of the main ones we started with, and they all had names, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, like Miss Muffet and Goldie Girl, they all had names. But one by one they get picked off by either a hawk or a coyote or a fox. We have a new bobcat around here now, and so that's a thing. We're daily fighting off raccoons and stuff.
Right.
But the kids will let them out and they'll put them up and they gather the eggs, right?
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So you have to be you have to like eggs to live this lifestyle. So okay, let's talk a little bit about just eating the eggs, eating the meat, that kind of thing. You and your brother, and then you said Georgie to an extent. You guys are eating carnivore. Well, first of all, we met last week in Oklahoma, and that was exciting because it's always exciting to meet people that you're partnering with in the work that you're doing. Here we are up in Clay's place up in Oklahoma, and so that's on the right there. On my right in the picture, that's Nace. So he's not on the show today. And then we have Jordan, and there we are in the Thrive Time World headquarters down at Clay Clark's. So it was very exciting. First of all, I want to show you, like, if you think that eating meat is bad for you, these guys are big. I mean, look, I'm not that big of a person, and I'm pretty tiny compared to these guys. So they're strong and strapping and very strong, manly individuals. The meat is definitely not an issue here. So let's talk about this because the carnivore and keto and ketovore lifestyle is trending these days on social media, and there's a sort of a big debate. A lot of the plant-based people are really not happy about this, and but there seems to be a growing trend toward people adopting this lifestyle.
Right.
And so I thought we really should talk about it. What is it? First of all, tell our listeners just how you eat. What do you eat in a typical day? And then we'll go back to how you got started.
So basically I eat a lot of fried eggs, don't I, Georgie?
Yeah.
She's like, fried eggs again, you know. I eat a lot of eggs. So any way you can think of eggs, whether it be boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, fried eggs. I do a lot of hamburger meat. So either like ground, like taco meat,
Which you can get right here.
yeah, right. And I do a lot of like steak burger patties to where I'll just do just their burger patties. And then I like to just put a fried egg on top and then, you know, eat it like that. So kind of eat it like a steak, but that's kind of my main deal. I'll do sausage in the morning or bacon. But that's kind of it. You know, last night we had steaks over the fire, so we started a campfire and we cooked some steaks out there, which is always the kids' favorites. And but that's kind of it. It's not like a whole wide range of things. Eat, you know, I'll do like raw milk, which is kind of hard to find. So, you know, but there's lots of groups that you can find raw milk, which is awesome. love like raw cheese, and those are considered like cold fats. But yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So the other question I was going to ask you is, we've heard for years now that it's better to eat lean meats, uh, really limit animal fats, that those things will cause you to have high cholesterol, to have heart disease, that they'll contribute to diabetes and obesity.
Hmm.
Um, and but what have you found in your family?
Well, I'm not a
How
doc. I'm not a doctor, so
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
for the people on YouTube, I'm not a doctor. What I can do is speak from my own personal experience.
Okay. Yeah, tell
Um,
us.
I had really bad back pain just from years of sports. Getting hurt there. I had tore my meniscus in both of my knees. Even from my wife's standpoint, she was diagnosed with Crohn's. She had severe eczema to where her hands would crack. She'd be bleeding all the time, right, Georgie? Like sometimes it got pretty gnarly. Like it'd start crawling up her face. I mean, it got pretty bad,
Mhm.
like really bad. Like it looked like a zombie movie.
What were they
You
doing?
know.
How was she treating that before?
Well, before we really knew anything, we did what the doctors told us. We did Humira, which was really bad. After just a little bit, because she spent 2 weeks in the hospital after our third kid, because her gut was so inflamed. So the whole time she was pregnant, she was talking about her back hurting so bad, and so I was, rubbing her back, and I was like, "This is what good husbands do. They rub, their wives' back when they're pregnant." And can't come to find out after she had the baby, that didn't go away. It just got worse. And what happened
Mm.
was her gut was so inflamed that it was pushing on her spine. And so it was really bad. And it was like almost completely blocked up. And so we spent, like 2 weeks in the hospital of them giving her steroids and then saying, okay, well, you need to get on Humira. We didn't know anything about it. And then she was like, her skin started to get really dried out. This was only a couple months of being on Humira or Humana. I don't remember what it is. And then she started aching really bad. So one of the side effects are that your joints start aching really, really bad. So she's like, I feel like I'm like 85 years old. I have to get off of this,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so me and my wife both had some issues. And so I had heard Dr. Sean Baker talked about it. He's 57 years old. Okay, so he's the author of the Carnivore diet. And I
Mhm.
see this guy that's 57. I'm 41. This guy's 57, and he's deadlifting. If people don't know what a deadlift is they have a bar and they pulled up here, and put it up. He's deadlifting like 500 pounds, unsupported, nobody with him. 57 years old, and I'm like, I can't even walk right now. I'm 41. I tore both of my knees, and I was like, I have to do something different. And so I started deep diving into this carnivore diet. I started learning about just the effects that red meat will have on you. And so I was like, well, you know what? I might as well try it. And so me and my brother tried it. I lost 30 pounds. I knew that I was a little bit overweight, but I lost 30 pounds. So I started to feel way better as far as my energy. My energy level just peaked and then just kept here. Usually whenever I eat, I'd have up and downs. But whenever I eat carnivore, I just go straight across. But, as far as my focus, my sleep got better. But one of the best things is that my knees stopped hurting and my back stopped hurting. My wife's skin cleared up. Her gut doesn't hurt anymore.
Wow.
And so,
And
that's
how
our
how long
experience.
how long ha when did you start doing this?
So I've been on it for over probably about 8 months now.
Wow, all of this
Yeah.
has changed. This is
Yeah.
recent.
Yeah.
So even though you were doing the freeze drying, prior to that, that wasn't your primary diet.
No,
Um,
I hadn't switched
okay.
over at that point. Yeah.
Okay, so how old did you say Sean Baker was?
He's 57 right now, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's him.
Yeah, that's Sean Baker. It's a kind of a weird picture, but, he's on X. I see him on there. He's on YouTube. He's known as the Carnivore King. So yeah, that's Sean Baker. He looks a little bit like the Incredible Hulk, really. In his videos, I've seen him. It's crazy. And he sort of goes head to head with a lot of the plant-based people, which
Right.
is interesting. He has an interesting channel. So this is very interesting. So what was your diet like when you and your wife were having all of these issues?
I would say it's just the typical average American diet to where you eat fast food when you're out. Um, we lived by McDonald's, and I would say that for several years we ate too much McDonald's, you know.
Yeah.
We would, you know, we ate a lot of breads, we ate a lot of gluten, I'm sure, you know, we ate a lot of GMO products. It was just
Mhm.
because that's like what you eat. It was just the normal
Mhm.
standard American diet.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
weren't eating a lot of sugars, we weren't eating a lot of sweets. It was just the normal things you just get, you know. And so
Right.
whenever I started learning about, you know, because I was always raised up that vegetables were a good thing. You know, God made us in the Garden of Eden,
Yeah.
right? You know, so
Everybody was, yeah.
right. So you know, and my grandma and grandpa were farmers, so you know, I actually love those things. You know, but when I started removing things, you know, especially like seed oils was a big thing. You know, I saw like not frying stuff, um, you know, in seed oils or peanut oil, you know, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, and then just what I realized, and I didn't even realize when I taught my mom into it. So it took her a long time to talk her
Yeah.
into it. And she was, you
How
know,
old is your mom?
she's 67, something
Okay.
like that. Yes, about 67.
Yeah.
And she eats all organic everything, right?
Yeah.
She's the
Yeah.
Whole Foods organic queen, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
And when she got on Carnivore, I told her, I said, hey, listen, there's a good chance that you're going to detox, you know,
Yeah.
because that's what
Yeah.
happened to me. Even though you think that you're good, there's a good chance. And she did. And I don't know how much she's lost. I bet she's lost over 30 or 40 pounds. And she feels better than she's ever felt.
Wow.
But it was an adjustment. But the thing is that even in those organic foods or whatever,
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of pesticides and herbicides that these things
Mhm.
are that come in contact with. And those things
Yeah.
are coming into our systems, and we don't really realize it, you know. So that's kind of a big thing. But also
Mhm.
just, you know, she would eat breads and stuff like that, but she would eat the non-GMO or the gluten-free stuff. But
Sure.
it just really makes a bigger difference than you think. Whenever
Mhm.
you start taking that stuff out, you know, you
Yeah.
really see a big difference. Yeah.
Interesting. And it's the grains too. And what I've heard, I think it's Dr. Anthony Chafee, he really goes
Yeah.
into the science of what the plants do
Right.
in your body, and I'm not gonna quote him, but he says that they're basically anti-nutrients in the plants, and so that's very interesting because he says that plants are actually mostly toxic to our bodies, and so anybody that wants more of that, again, I'm not a scientist, but
Right.
I found it very compelling to listen to what he has to say on that front, because he has really dived into the research on this. Um, and so it's just very interesting because so much of the standard American diet, and I would say the standard Western diet, really,
Hmm.
is centered on grains and the processed foods, the fast foods are centered around seed oils. Many people are not quite sure when we say that. Maybe you're thinking like sesame seed oil, but it's actually anything that they call vegetable oil. So corn oil, soy oil, peanut oil, these oils that are made with through a very strong multi-step chemical process. Those oils, I found out, are actually an industrial byproduct that was put into the food supply by the captains of industry early in the 20th century as a way to sell off the byproducts and market it as food. And that's when I think they paid the American Heart Association to vilify animal fats and that's when the whole Crisco, Wesson oil, vegetable oil, corn oil craze started, and people were told that, lard and animal tallow and butter was bad for you. And I'm sure people your mom's age probably remember getting margarine in a packet, and in some places it was illegal to color the margarine, so they would give you a dye capsule that you would break up and massage into the white fatty Crisco to turn it into margarine. right? Oleomargarine. It's very interesting. The more I've been listening a lot because I've been intrigued by what I've heard about this in the carnivore space. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting is that you guys, your beef is grass fed, your beef is from farmers that you know and trust. Um, but I found out something interesting about beef and about mammals with ruminant stomachs. So, cattle, sheep, buffalo, the deer, the deer and the antelope, those things, they have multiple stomachs where they can actually, they have bacteria that actually kills the harmful pesticides and other toxins that may be in the food they're being fed. And
Right.
so even people who maybe can't afford higher end meats are still going to benefit, which I found amazing, right? Um, but let's talk a little bit about your experience. You said you eat sausage, you eat eggs, you grow your eggs. How have you guys been focused mainly on keeping the most pure ingredients you can, or are you finding that you can get some grocery store items and still be okay?
Whenever you listen to Sean Baker, he talks about grass fed versus, grain finish and stuff like that.
Yeah,
The healthiest way is to do grass fed, grass finish by far.
yeah,
But as far as people seeing results, will they see results off of corn fed? Yeah, they will, because they are eliminating, like 95% of the other junk that they're putting in their body. So,
right.
I mean, your body was designed to heal itself. And so
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
remove those toxins, all of a sudden you start seeing some big time results really quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, that's
and
key,
and
right?
and and as far as the cow's stomach, I think they have like three. But what the food does is it goes through a fermentation process where it starts
Okay.
filtering out that before it even reaches the meat. So when we eat the meat, and people talk about, if you do a nose to tail diet, you'll get everything you need from that animal, from the
Mhm,
plants that they're eating. But you can't go backwards. You can't eat plants and get what you need from the animal into your body. But when they
mhm.
eat their original God plan diet, when we eat them, then we get everything that our body needs to sustain itself, all the vitamins and all that stuff. But
Interesting.
as far as grass fed, grass finished, that is the healthiest way to go. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. And, which is what you guys have right here
Yeah.
in your pack.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
this is really, the highest quality. And, when it comes to this product, this is your, ground beef. This is a pound of ground beef, everybody. And it has I'm gonna read the ingredients to you, okay? Ingredients: ground beef.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So that's it. Um, there's no stabilizers, there's no fillers, nothing. It's ground beef. Everybody can read this, even Georgie can read this, okay? Um, you don't have to have a science degree to read the ingredients on this packet, and that's exciting. So let's shift to this. I do want to come back a little bit to carnivore, but just for a few minutes, let's talk about your beef because so many people are buying it, which is why you're expanding. And we've had a lot of our listeners order. What are people doing with it? Are they eating it like right away? Are they stockpiling it for the doomsday apocalypse? How are your customers using this product?
Well, let's go back to what it is, because I think a lot of people are confused about what it actually is. I think even at
Yeah,
the
okay.
event, even at Clay's event, we were there for 2 days with a TV and banners and all this stuff, and people are just so distracted by other things. This is raw, this is grass fed, grass finished, raw ground beef. So raw ground beef that's freeze dried. It's not beef jerky. It's raw ground beef that's freeze dried. It has a shelf life of over 15 years. So all you do is add cool water back to it, and within 10 to 15 minutes, it's completely rehydrated, like you just got it back from, like you just shopped at the grocery store. Okay, so 15 minutes, it's completely rehydrated. The blood, the fats, everything's back to normal, and you can cook with it like normal. You can make hamburgers, you can make meatloaf, you can make meatballs, you can make tacos, you can make all these things. So this is a raw beef product that will last 15 years in your closet, underneath your bed, in your storm shelter, in your basement. You don't have to put it in a fridge or a freezer. So no matter what the power is doing, this is going to be shelf stable for you. But as far as what people are doing now, we kind of designed this for a product for us to have as food insurance, right? And it ended up turning into something else because people were so conflicted with who they should trust these days on what they're putting into their bodies. So you have a lot of people that are trying to find good products. You have a lot of people that, during the pandemic, they bought $10,000 worth of product or prepper food from other places that they realized, man, that wasn't a great investment because it was a lot of sugars, a lot of carbs, and a lot of.
Sorry. Hold on. I hit the wrong button. Come back.
Oh, you're all right.
That was my producer's fault. Me. Okay.
But they bought a lot of product that had starches, sugars,
Yeah.
and carbs, and very little protein in it. And so they felt like that was a bad investment. So the cool thing with our product, one, it gives people an option to have protein. And you have people on this what to do with their money now because they're kind of nervous about what to do with it, right? And I
Yeah.
tell them, one, the two main things that I would buy is a way to protect yourself, right? And then meat, because meat's only going to go up in price. You can't eat gold. I mean, the only reason to put money in gold is a good thing, but I don't think you should put all your money in gold because you can't eat it. So I tell people to buy beef because beef is never going to be cheaper than it is today. It's always going to go up. Like whenever you saw, over 1 million acres burn in Texas just now.
Yeah.
So all stuff like that happens. I mean, how many meat factories burnt down during the last 4 years? A
It's
lot,
crazy. Yeah, the
you know?
processing plants. Yeah.
Right, and people aren't
Yeah.
really talking about that stuff. So, I mean, as
Mhm.
far as, we have car insurance, we have health insurance, we have business
Yeah.
insurance,
Yeah.
but what about food? And I think this is a great way because no matter whether you eat this today or tomorrow, it's gonna be ready for you. It only takes 10 minutes. You just put water in it and you're ready to go. So this is a product that doesn't have to go bad on you. So when people buy all
Right.
that other stuff, they're like, "Man, I would only eat this if, like, I needed to eat it. I wouldn't eat it
Right.
if I could, it's like if I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
this is a great product because it's not a
Sure.
wasted investment. It's gonna be cheaper now than it is, 5 years from now or even a month from now. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the interest rate in the last 3 years is like over 18%. So, I mean, that just shows you how high everything's going. The value of the dollar is dropping. And so I think this is a
Mhm.
great way. But what we found out is that we thought that people would buy it just for the zombie apocalypse or for the tribulation or
Yeah.
something. But what is happening is that people are substituting this in for all the ground beef that they buy anyways from the stores because they know, one, they can trust it, and two, it just comes straight to their door. And so I think that's the big thing. And then it ends up being really convenient for them because they don't have to pull it out of the freezer. It doesn't go bad when it sits in the fridge because they get
Mhm.
busy during the week and the kids had games all week long or whatever. And I've lost thousands of dollars myself of just things just going bad in the fridge, huh, Georgie? And
Yeah,
because
we all have that. Yeah. Yeah.
right, just because we just get busy. So this is a great
Mhm.
product for people. So I think it turned into something that we didn't expect, but I think it's
Yeah.
great. And I think even, we were just on a show the other day where we're like, you know what? We really need to give a call to action to the churches because this is a product that the churches could have on hand all the time. And when times get tough, and they are going to get tougher, if you believe in the Bible, they're going to get tougher before they get better. Jesus is coming back is the great news. The bad news is that there's going to be some tough times in between now and then, and we're still going to have to eat. So, I mean, the church is going to be the storehouse, for people that are hurting, hungry, and lost. And I think this would be a great product for churches to be able to partner up with us so that they can get it into their stocks to have in case bad times come when they come.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you're talking, I see a lot of people scanning the code. And for those who are listening audio only, it is griddownchowdown.com. Make sure you tell them that Mary Grace referred you. There's a drop down on the website to do that. And tell us a little bit about the process. You don't have a lot of the orders stockpiled. you're sort of making it on demand.
Yes.
And so this is not, this is not a big box situation where you're going to get same day delivery. Let's just be realistic about that, because this is real food
Right.
that is it's like an artisanal uh charcuterie kind of, where you are ordering it and it's being made on demand. And so what is the turnaround time typically? And also, I have a couple more questions. What's the turnaround time right now for an order?
So right now, it just kind of depends on the time, and I try not to date shows whenever we're doing it
Sure.
because the lead times are always changing depending on the demand, and also like we're getting ready to go to Utah to get more
Yeah.
commercial equipment, so all that changes day to day.
Okay.
And whether or not beef is bottlenecked or whatever.
Okay.
But right now it's just a couple weeks,
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
everything that we get is going to be made to order. So as you get your order, you kind of get in
Mhm.
a line process, and so the machines never stop, the production never stops.
Okay.
We just keep ramping that as we're
Mhm,
going.
mhm.
Yeah.
And so once somebody gets into the queue, let's say that they do your subscription. Is your
Mhm.
subscription back up?
So the subscription is priority. So if they're able to get
Uh-huh.
into subscription when it's
Yeah.
open, that ships every month, no matter what.
And it's open. Is it open now?
I would have to look. Yeah, but
Okay, okay. So they do have a subscription model, everybody, and the subscription model is a little bit of a savings if you do that, just like any subscribe and save. And I'm not quoting prices because I'm not on the website, but it's definitely a better way to do it if you can. And you guys told me that people are getting on the subscription and they're putting a little bit away, and then they're using some.
right.
Which is seems ideal, especially for really busy people, right? And I'm thinking of other applications too, camping,
Yeah.
RV,
Yeah.
even if you go off grid,
Yeah.
if you have a
Hiking.
right, if you
Hmm.
have a way to cook, um, that's all you need is water and your beef and maybe a little bit of salt. Um,
Right.
right? So that's fantastic if people can do that. Um, and then it does support a carnivore, ketovore lifestyle for sure, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I would say if there's anybody looking to get the subscriptions, and it's not open right now, it will definitely be open as soon as we get the new machinery in here.
Mhm.
But if you do want on it and you want in line or you want to have first access to that,
Yeah,
just send us an email so that we can keep in touch with you so we can make sure that we get you in front of the line.
okay.
So
And
yeah,
they
just
can
go
do
ahead and
that
reach out.
through the website,
Yeah.
griddowncowdown.com.
Yeah. And just let us know that you saw
Mhm.
us on Mary Grace. Yeah.
Okay, good. And guys, this link is also on my website. So if you have my site bookmarked, marygracemedia.com, you can go to my shopping tab and find it right there. So if you can't remember those grid guys, the carnivore guys, just go to marygracemedia.com, go to the shopping link, and it's right there. Easy, easy. And that's where all of my affiliate partners are. So you can just do all your shopping right there on marygracemedia.com and then just tell them that Mary Grace sent you. That's really easy to do. We're calling it the Mary Grace Sky Mall now. And so it's exciting. I just want to reiterate because I think it is really important for people to understand. I get this question all the time. Is it jerky? No. Is it dehydrated? No. It's freeze dried. And that's really, really different because, sometimes jerky can go bad, especially if it has a lot of moisture left in it. This is shelf stable. It stays in these bags for up to 15 years. It's very different from jerky and it's not seasoned. It's not cooked. So
Right.
when you rehydrate it, you can make anything that you would normally make when you take out a packet of raw ground beef. And that's exciting. So I'm going to try the meatball recipe. uh, and and there it is. That's what it looks like, and you just follow the directions on the packet and super easy to do. Don't put hot water in it because you don't want to boil your meat. Um, I'm sure that's probably happened before. Okay, and then here's the list. So 10 to 15-year shelf life, grass-fed, grass-finished, no mRNA jibber jabbers, freeze drying process retains all nutrients. 4 ounces freeze dried equals 1 pound of raw hydrated meat. So that's super efficient to store. you have quarter of the weight, and it's just amazing. It's just in this packet. It barely weighs a thing when it's freeze dried. It's in an airtight, vacuum sealed package, oxygen and moisture absorbing jacket or packet. The blood and fat shows up just like fresh ground beef bought from the store. This is fantastic. And I think at some point you guys are going to be adding additional products as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what
right?
I was gonna say. We're gonna add raw eggs. We're gonna add steaks. We're gonna add a lot of other products. And I was gonna say as well, as far as we were just on a show with a guy that wrote a book. It was like the 5 minutes after or whatever is like in case of like an EMP and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty cool because it wasn't my opinion. This guy, this is what he does. He works for a university, and so he does all the studies. And so he just kind of talked about what would happen in the next 24 hours to 48 hours,
Mhm.
what would happen to everybody around us,
Mhm.
everything, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he was recommending for the people that are wondering, like how much would I need for my family? As far as like the 96 servings, that would last one person a whole month.
Mhm.
So but as far as whenever people look at that, we had someone ask, well, I would buy the 96 servings, but I can't eat 96 servings in one day or whatever. Well, those
Mhm.
are all packaged individually in pounds. So
Okay.
when you look at 96 servings, 12 servings or whatever. So when we package in servings of 4. So kind of on the average family, they might
Okay.
eat a pound or 2 pounds at a time. So we package a pound at a time. So even though it might be 24 pounds or, whatever, 48 pounds, it's still only packaged at every pound. So you
Okay.
don't have to open the whole batch. You would just open
Right.
1 pound at a time so
Right.
that it'll still keep for all those years, yeah.
Yeah, and that's this right here. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then like he said, if you wanna get on the subscription, even if it's not open, send them a message and say, "Please put me on the waiting list for the subscription," so you'll be in line. And, I love the graphics. It's really cool. Look at that cow. And so this is interesting. It's very interesting. I really think the conversation about, the, the carnivore lifestyle, the keto lifestyle is just going hand in hand with this. On Facebook, we have a listener who just said they ordered, and forgot to put my name. So,
Okay.
Jerry, do you see that? Do you see that comment? Um, Jerry Twaddle Twitchell? I'll send it to you.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, is that the name that you ordered under, Jerry? Thank you for ordering, by the way, it's awesome. Um, he's taking a screenshot. If the Can you just give us a thumbs up if you did use that last name, or let us know what name you ordered under, and they'll fix that. So thank you. We do get credit here on the show. That's how we keep the show going, and, sometimes people get a little bit bothered by having affiliate links on the show, and, we are a business. We're actually doing this full time. Jordan and Nace and his family, this is supporting an American, independently run business in the heartland and other ranchers. Everything that you're doing is supporting the types of businesses that people say they want to see sustained in this country. And so it also supports our show and helps us to keep the show going, because it enables me to work from home and have amazing guests like this and bring you topics like this. So it's different. We're changing the media landscape. However, if you turn on the television, you probably find that every single commercial is for some kind of pill or drug. And if you want to go back to that, it's easy to do. You just go to foxnews.com or go to Fox News on your TV and watch those shows and spend 20 minutes between each segment of news or fake news listening to big drug commercials. It's your choice. But in order for us to stay here and to keep bringing you this amazing content, we are going to have affiliate links. And we really appreciate the people who get that and who support this model over the corporate model where the sponsors actually control everything that they tell you on the news. I think a lot of people get that, but sometimes people get a little bit bothered by it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so the cost of doing business, it's not cheap, you guys. It's really not. And so we do appreciate you, investing a little more in the types of products that our partners are producing for you. That being said, our partner over at My Pillow, he's giving you deep discounts all the time when you use the promo code Mary Grace. So it's a mix, it's a balance.
Mhm.
I think Jerry just put up the last name. Did you
Yeah, I
get
saw
it?
that. I
Spangler.
saw
Okay,
that.
perfect. So
Yeah,
thanks again, Jerry.
and I saw a guy that made a comment on the price, and he said, "I hope you're rich." I think whenever you look at this, whenever you look at your program and you look at American-made companies, like we aren't outsourcing this to China. This is a product that we actually have here. We
Yeah.
do it ourselves. And whenever you look at competing companies, you're going to find the same amount of price, point, but you're not going to see the grass fed, the grass finish. You're not going to see the no jibber jabbers. You're not going to see any of that stuff. You're
Mhm.
not going to see like no antibiotics, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're not going to see. So whenever you start looking at the price point, people are looking for one, they're looking for truth, because we live in a day
Yeah.
of age to where
Yeah.
we're bombarded with all these outlets and people telling us what to think and what to believe or whatever. So they're coming to your channel because one, they trust you. And then two, people are looking for good products to support instead of
Yeah.
supporting all the people with the big agendas that's pushing life in a way that we really don't want to see go. And so you're finding a someone you can trust, and you're finding a product that you can trust, and it's not coming from a foreign country, it's coming from us. And so the price, it is what it is. Beef is not cheap, and neither is paying American people. So it's just one of those things. But I would encourage everybody, like we have different packages available for everybody, from 4 ounces to, or for four servings to 92 servings. So even if this is something that
Mhm.
maybe you're not going to eat it every day, I have people, Mary, that are literally that buy 92 servings just for their dogs or for their pets
Yeah.
in case of an emergency, because they know if the store shut down, and just like me and that if something were to happen, the supply chain would collapse in less than 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we know that the average American doesn't have anything in their house that's going to probably last for more than
Yeah.
a couple of days. Well, if you take away your
Yeah.
freezers and your fridge, when the power goes down,
Mhm. Mhm.
like what are you really left with?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so whenever we talk about our product, we're talking about food insurance, and we're talking about a healthy lifestyle. I mean, those are the
Yeah.
two things that we really
Yeah.
talk about. And
Mhm.
it does cost. You kind of get what you pay for. You are what you eat. If
Right.
you put
Yeah.
in those bad ingredients, like your body and your health are going to be affected by it.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's if people were not depending on their health insurance to, pay for all of the drugs that they need when
right.
they put the bad foods in their body, they would actually this is health insurance, in my opinion. Food is life, and we could have a whole 'nother discussion about that, but I think that the other thing I wanna say is, when it comes to voting, we have a really huge choice to make come November, because we know that there's one person who is intent on helping American businesses thrive, and we know who that is. Um, we all know, and it's just a fact of life. And so the regulations, the fuel costs, all of the things that make it harder for small businesses to thrive and to keep their prices down, this current administration is not the friend of small business. President Trump is. And so I just want to be clear about that. If you're worried about costs, there's one way to help that change in your favor. So don't sit by and complain. I know it's steep for people, but it's because of where we are politically. That's a big part of it. Okay. Now I think that's it for now. I'm gonna just close us out with just tell people one more time how to find you, how to follow you, and then we've got a little message from our affiliate partners at the end here that I'm gonna run for all of my listeners. And so thank you again, Jordan, for being here. And thank you, Georgie. Georgie, you're welcome to come back anytime. And if you found that you want to do more talking, just jump right in because we're big talkers here. So if you have some conversations afterwards with your dad and you go, I thought about this and I thought about this. There's no better place to start. And my listeners would love to hear from you. I have a great audience. And so you're welcome anytime, even if you want to come on by yourself and just talk, we can do that.
Hey,
Okay?
Georgie, if you could say one thing about the meat whenever I cook you the hamburgers, how they taste? Are they good or are they bad?
They're good.
They're really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and that right there's your answer, everybody. Okay, so where can they find you? And then I'll play us out with our little ad here.
Yeah, so if you go to griddownchowdown.com, type in what is your code now?
Mary Grace.
Mary Grace. If you'll type in Mary Grace, go to griddownchowdown.com, type in Mary Grace. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us there. And we thank you for having us, Mary.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's been a great conversation today. Everybody, will see you back here very soon. I may have a special live stream coming up on some real current issues that have been in the news. So just keep watch on the email list. Make sure you get on that list, marygracemedia.com, so that you don't miss a show. I do definitely have an amazing guest on this Saturday at 1 p.m. It's one of your favorites. So put it on the calendar. Everybody, will see you back here very soon. And thanks again. Thank you so much, Jordan Roberts and Georgie. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
And I am one of the biggest fans of MyPillow because they have quality America First products that are just made right here in the country, and they last. We have the towels, and I have a big issue with towels that shrink up after the first washing. The MyPillow towels stay color fast, they stay in shape, and they stay that way for years after repeated washings. You can't ask for better. Plus, they actually work. When somebody buys from MyPillow using the promo code Mary Grace, that does a couple of things. It brings in a little bit of an affiliate commission to our company, and it helps us to pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the internet going, travel to places that we do to give you remote content. And it also helps MyPillow by giving them the support of people who genuinely value quality and companies that support real people right here in the United States and employ people all over this country and give back to this country. Go directly to mypillow.com, use promo code Mary Grace, and buy everything you need for the home. There's no need to spend time shopping anywhere else. Go to mypillow.com, use promo code Mary Grace, get your towels, pillows, sheets, robes, dog beds, pet beds, cat beds, whatever it is that you want for the home. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. It's easy. Don't waste your time anywhere else. mypillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. Thank you. Listen, your health is your best investment. We have a country to save, and we need people who are in the best shape of their lives, physically, mentally, spiritually. Why not connect with a team who cares about you on every single level from the inside out? Official Synapse is that team. Officialsynapse.com. It's official, synapse.com. Tell them Mary Grace sent you, and they will treat you like family. If you're like most people, you really probably haven't thought about transferring your paper dollars into physical gold and silver. But I want to tell you a story. My friend Andrew Sorcini over at Beverly Hills Precious Metals, he recently went overseas and he wanted to buy a watch. He likes fine watches. He took 3 currencies with him. He took gold, he took Bitcoin, and he took American dollars. Now, there used to be a time when the American dollar was king. I remember that when I used to travel overseas. Everybody wanted dollars. The people that he was dealing with would not take his dollars because the dollar is so devalued around the world. They wanted the gold. So this is what I recommend to you. I want you to think about this. If you have cash in the bank, if you have an investment account that you have worked hard for years to accumulate, consider the value of converting that money into physical gold and silver. You're not buying something that's losing value. You're changing those worthless dollars into a tangible physical asset that will go up in value, which it has done historically. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to bh-pm.com. The first thing you're going to do is schedule that free consultation. Second thing, just think rationally about this, pray about it, go to the Lord, see what the best decision for you and your family is. I can't tell you that. I don't want to pressure you into that. What I do know is don't be scared, be prepared. And so the third thing you want to do is make a decision for you and your family. Make a decision, take action. bh-pm.com. Let them know Mary Grace sent you. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who watches this show. Thank you for being a participant. Thank you for being a loyal audience member. I just want to remind you, if you like what you've seen, please share this and don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and also sign up for my email list so you never miss a show.